One of the great privileges I've had in my nearly 40 years with the Christian and Missionary Alliance has been that of meeting, in the flesh or by means of biographies, some real-life heroes of the Christian faith. Men and women who changed their world by living out the very same core values that we'll be learning about. One of these heroes was a man named Robert Jaffray. Despite the fact that he had a number of serious health problems and a weak constitution that caused his friends and family to encourage him to stay in Toronto and carry on in the family business, Jaffray chose to leave behind the promise of a lucrative inheritance and a life of relative ease to become a pioneer missionary with the Christian and Missionary Alliance. In 1897, he left his native country and traveled to China. From there, he launched his storied missionary career, mastering the Cantonese language and eventually leading the entire field of missionaries. In 1911, Jaffray began the work in a new alliance field, Vietnam. There was plenty of work left to do in China, but now there were others working there. So the now veteran missionary turned his heart to a new unreached field. 100 years later, there are more than 1 million believers in the Tin Lan Church, the CMA Church of Vietnam. If you're looking for a comparison, that is more than twice the size of the Christian and Missionary Alliance here in America. But there's more. In 1928, in spite of a Board of Managers directive to curb any new initiatives because of a lack of funds, Jaffray opened yet another field, this time in what was then called Dutch Borneo. He finished his ministry and his life there because just before the outbreak of World War II, in the full knowledge of what would happen to a Canadian missionary in Japanese-occupied territory, he chose to return from his furlough to Indonesia. He died in the Japanese POW camp in July of 1945, just weeks before the end of the war. It's not without significance that the National CMA Church in Indonesia today, just like its sister church in Vietnam, is larger than the church in the USA. When Jaffray went against his instructions to open the work in Indonesia, he wrote these words to explain his action. "In my heart I hear a voice saying, 'Other sheep I have, them I also must bring.' And again, whom shall I send and who will go for me? Who will take the gospel to Samarinda and Balikpapan? Christ has not been named there." R.A. Jaffray understood. He lived and died with this core value. Lost people matter to God. He wants them found. Now I want you to hear from another amazing person. Her name is Sina Lau.